Welcome to Discover La Jolla, where we shine a light on the jewel of San Diego, La Jolla, California. I'm here today with Lynn Ahern from BFit Modern Pilates.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Yes, we're so excited to have you on the podcast, and I'm a huge fan of your studios and the workout. So tell us a little bit about how you got into opening up your own Pilates studios.
So I was a banker by day for most of my career, and this was a workout a friend of mine invited me to years ago, kind of in the early days of group fitness, and I was thinking it would be kind of quiet, slow moving, maybe not something I'd be into. Kicked my butt. I'm a bit competitive, so it kept me coming back because I wanted to master it. Over a decade later, I've yet to master it. Also saw a need. There's a lot of fitness in LA, East Coast where I traveled to, but kind of south of LA at the time, although Pilates is now booming. Not as many options. So something I really focused on and looked at starting post-banking.
And so what makes your workout different than other Pilates? Because I know there's a few different types of Pilates. There's mat Pilates, reformer. So tell us what BFit does specifically.
So we're more group fitness. It's a form of strength resistance training, which all provide to different levels. I would say our workout is way more intense, faster results. Also, we try to make it fun, a community environment, particularly after post-COVID. I think a lot of people have discovered that group classes provides that community and kind of outlet, particularly if you're working from home. So, all fun.
Yes. And you're not only having a location in La Jolla, UTC area, but you're expanding rapidly. So tell us about that growth and kind of the challenges you've seen being a business owner.
Well, I think the first and foremost, we started just about a year before COVID. So I always joke, being a banker, we forecasted all the things that we needed to think about. Pandemic was not one of them. So I do feel like surviving that made us stronger. As we've grown, we really try to focus on 2 to 3 locations that are kind of where people may work and then live. So we provide the option that you can go, like in San Diego, we have 3 locations. People can work in one, go to that location, and make it easy.
Right.
As we've expanded, we've now are in Texas, mainly because my kids went to college there. So also another market that I'm familiar with, and still don't know where exactly we will end, but the journey has been really, really fun.
And that's so exciting that you're relatively newer in this space, kind of opening up that year before COVID and kind of going with those ups and downs. So as we're moving into 2025, what do you see on the horizon?
So I do think group fitness and Pilates in particular is taken off, which is neat to see because I hope it's a workout that will be here 10, 20 years from now. Being a bit older than our clientele, I'm also excited to see that a lot of younger people are embracing, whether it be Pilates or other forms of fitness. It's something they can do as they age. I always say, regardless of what you do, skier, surfer, this makes you stronger. And I think people are really seeing the value in that. I also think it's changed a lot as a lot of people do work remote, that this provides an outlet. I'm seeing even in the last 4 years, it's much more of a social place. We see requests for group classes, event classes. We may have received a one-off, and now it's almost a weekly occurrence that someone's looking to organize an activity around their fitness, which is neat.
Yeah, and it makes it a good activity to meet up with friends, and you're doing something that, like you said, it's not only social, but it's good for you and it's good for your body.
And fun.
Yes,
so.
and it's fun.
And fun, so.
Very rewarding. Well, thank you so much today for sharing a little bit about you, your story, your studios, and for our viewers watching, where can they take a class in San Diego?
So we have our location here next to UTC in the Renaissance Town Center. We have also in Hillcrest, the hub, And then our newest location is East Village, right across from Petco Park.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Lynn, and thank you for watching Discover La Jolla. Welcome to Discover La Jolla, where we shine a light on the jewel of San Diego, La Jolla, California. I'm here with Sasan Mirkarimi from Equity Legal.
Hello.
Hi, good to have you in the studio today, and we're excited to chat about Equity Legal and kind of like your business being in La Jolla, born and raised in La Jolla. So tell us a little bit about you and how you got started.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. So myself, born and raised, went to, all the public schools in La Jolla, and, it's a great place to grow up. And, went to law school locally here, Cal Western, and for undergrad, I went to USC. So I did leave La Jolla. I didn't go that far. That's the furthest I actually went is LA.
But you came back, which is what matters.
But it came back, and that's honestly what's the beauty, right? Like everyone, when you grow up and you're privileged to be raised in somewhere like La Jolla, the journey is get back, right? Because everyone all over the world is trying to figure out how to get here. And so it's been awesome. And, actually moving here to live here in 2019 was awesome to be able to kind of actually come live. My family lives in La Jolla, but to get my own place and raise my son here, that's just been amazing. So.
And your office is located in Bird Rock. So tell us what it's like having your business in La Jolla, being born and raised there.
Okay, great question. Yeah, so my law firm, Equity Legal, we started in 2015, and our primary base, just like every other law firm, was headquartered in downtown, right? At the beautiful, over there on One Corporate Plaza, and then COVID happened, and our vision for the firm was always to be a little bit cutting edge, and we were already kind of set up to be a remote firm, so we didn't get hurt at all, and so we ended up going remote primarily. But over the years, my partner, Louis Haddad, who I started it with, he lives in the South Bay, and he was doing a lot more of the heavy cases. So he's like, I need an office. I can't do this out of the house. So we got an office in downtown Chula Vista, and that was our first kind of satellite office. And then I was primarily juggling between the offices downtown and, working from home, because I always was able to do that. It was easy for me. But then that just kind of, at some point, I was like, if I can get an opportunity to have an office where I live, my wife actually motivated me to look. And so last year, in 2023, we opened an office in Bird Rock in La Jolla Boulevard. And so now I'm literally less than a mile from my house to the office. My son goes to Bird Rock Elementary. So I'm a full-on, Bird Rock office, local.
I love that. I love that you're keeping it local. And as we kind of end 2024 and get into 2025, what is your vision for your firm, and where do you see that growing?
Great question. So the firm's vision actually is to be kind of the go-to law firm for real estate. But the vision also is not going to be kind of based on what traditionally large law firms rely on, large number of attorneys and staff. Our goal is to be able to kind of keep that boutique feel, because that's important, and that's where you can give that service. So we never want to give that up. That's always been one of our core values is customer service. But leverage technology. I'm always been a tech nerd, and I love utilizing what's happening with AI and utilizing, honestly, we empower virtual assistants out of Colombia sometimes to do just minute stuff that we don't need to bill clients large value for. So we just want to be efficient, and the goal is to do a lot more expansion into kind of our core area of real estate outside of litigation, which would be more transactions. So, being a real estate broker and, having run a brokerage of 1,000+ agents, from 2018 to 2021, we really got to see what it's like, the good of what comes from closing, nice deals, both in residential and commercial, but of course what goes wrong, right? And on the legal side.
Totally. And
so we're always in the dirt. We're always in the mess of real estate and trying to fix it for our clients. But we've noticed over the last couple of years, people are coming to us to now actually handle the transaction itself. Usually when, a trustee of a trust, already identified they want to sell a property to someone, obviously, agents serve a purpose. But when they've identified a property and let's say they're out of state or they have no nothing, they'd rather work with a lawyer because,
Right.
in the East Coast, most real estate transactions are closed by attorneys. And so that's one of our biggest focuses, is doing more transactions and just kind of developing that part of our practice.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And to round things off on the interview, being in La Jolla, what is one of your favorite things about La Jolla?
Oh my gosh. I mean, the beauty, I mean, you can't beat, I mean,
It is very beautiful.
our coast. I mean, it just, it's just obviously the weather, the different communities just within La Jolla, right? The fact that we have the village, which is like the more touristy, but it's just beautiful. Like you can just go out, like me and my wife said all the time, like we just decided to go to the village for dinner on a Friday night. It feels like, when you visit, like you go on a trip and then you go to dinner and then you go do the gelato. Like we literally go on vacation, but then we go back home.
Yeah.
So I think living in a vacation daily and appreciating that. I mean, our sunsets, everything from Windansea Beach, all the local little beaches we've got, the people, and really it's kind of it's weird, right? It's like it's Noel known all over the world, but it's still got that small community vibe. And so I think that's what's amazing, the Jewel, right?
Yes.
So being able to live in the Jewel, being raised in the Jewel, and now run a business and raise a son in the Jewel is truly a privilege.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story and a little bit about your business, where you see it going in 2025. And if people want to contact you, learn more, how can they get in touch?
Absolutely. I mean, the easiest thing to do is go to the website, equitylegalllp.com. There's tons of information. We have a lot of content on there, and right there on the first page is a form you can fill out with our phone number. And if you have any inquiries, we do offer free initial consultations for most of our case types, just to kind of navigate the issue. So please take advantage of it. And if you live in La Jolla, please come visit the office. That's why we opened it, because we'd love to have clients in person at the office as well.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Sasan, and thank you for watching Discover La Jolla.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to Discover La Jolla, where we shine a light on the jewel of San Diego, La Jolla, California. I'm here with Sky Seals from Easy Solar and Roofing.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity to come and visit with you and all of your viewers. I'm excited to be here and go through the history of the company and who we are and where we started at. So again, thank you for taking the time to allow us to come in and tell you about ourselves.
Yeah, we're excited to have you in and learn a little bit more about the company. So tell us about how you got started and what makes you different from other solar and roofing companies.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm the CEO and founder of Easy Solar and Roofing. I actually started the company back in 2010. So we're going on 15 years now.
So being in the business for 15 years, what would you say some of the challenges are about having your own business?
Yeah, so we've definitely seen a lot of industry ups and downs. We've seen a lot of economy ups and downs. Thankful to have thought in the early days of the company that we needed to offer at least two different trades, and two different trades that complement each other, not trades that are completely different in the industry. So one of the issues in the early days that we were having is that we were really good solar installers. We could get up there and install all sorts of different solar panels, all sorts of different racking, inverters, monitoring, and provide exactly what the customer needed. But we were lacking an important element of the business, which is the roofing side of things. So typically, roofers are really good at roofing, but they have no idea what they're doing with the solar, and vice versa. Most solar installers are really good at installing solar, but they have no idea what to do on the roofing aspect of it. So I incorporated roofing into the company, and since then it has really helped our clients be able to get a complete package with both the solar and the roofing. It also allows them to qualify for certain tax credits that's available only at the time that you install the solar system. So if you install a roof at the exact same time that you install the solar system, we can qualify you for your 30% tax credit, which is huge. It's a one-time deal. It's a one-shot opportunity. And it's really important that we're taking care of our customers' finances. It's important that we're not just getting up there and installing the solar system and leaving the home or the project without taking the interest of our customers in mind as our
Right.
highest priority.
Right, because a lot of people, I'm sure, they're a little bit uneasy having the solar guy up on the roof doing work on the roof. It's kind of like kept separate, but keeping it all in one seems to be more advantageous for the customer.
It 100% is. And that's something that I would highly recommend that every single one of your viewers takes into consideration. There's actually, according to the California State License Board, there's only 92 roofing contractors, legal contractors in San Diego.
Wow.
Only 92 roofing contractors in San Diego. Out of those 92 roofing contractors, it's single digit with how many solar installers there are. There's general contractors, there's a lot of other types of trades, but when you're doing a heart surgery, the way that I look at it, you don't want a general doctor to do the heart surgery. You want a specialist to
Right.
come in and work on your heart. So with us being specifically in the roofing trade and in specifically licensed as a roofing contractor, as a C39, which is what the trade code is, and as a electrical contractor that supersedes any other contractor as far as electrical goes, which is a C10 electrical contractor, we can now install both your solar system and your roof without voiding the warranty of the other trade, which I would highly recommend that you that your viewers take into consideration. It's important that they get a legal contractor that is legally licensed with both a C39 roofer, as a C39 roofer, and as a C10 electrical contractor. If they're not, they are legally not allowed to be able to install one or the other or both.
Right. And I'm sure a lot of people don't know that. So thank you so much for sharing that to our viewers. I'm sure it'll be very helpful for them. And if they're watching this and they have more questions, they want to get in touch, what's the best way for them to contact you?
Yeah, absolutely. So they can reach our sales department. We have really educated sales guys in there. We train our guys to not be pushy. It's more of an educational presentation. We come in, we'll answer any of your questions. We'll make recommendations. Even if you don't go with us, we highly encourage you go with a licensed contractor. Make sure they're licensed in roofing. Make sure they're licensed in electrical. It's extremely important.
Thank you so much, Sky. And we really appreciate you coming in and talking about Easy Solar and Roofing. And if you're watching this, be sure to check them out. And thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you for having us. I appreciate it.
Welcome to Discover La Jolla, where we shine a light on the jewel of San Diego, La Jolla, California. I'm here with Amelia Mattis from Mattis Law.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. We're excited to learn more about you and your practice. So tell us a bit about how you got started in La Jolla.
Yeah, sure. So I've been an attorney for about 10 years now, and I've been practicing exclusively in family law. I've had offices in a couple of different locations. I was downtown for a period of time. I was in Sereno Valley for a couple of years too. And then during the pandemic, we were all working from home and kind of starting to realize how nice it was to have a walkable, you were home, you were able to go for walks on your lunch or any time of the day. And so when we got back to the office, I really wanted for myself and my staff to sort of maintain that work-life balance. And La Jolla was just the perfect spot for that. So we got really lucky. We got an office space that's walking distance to the beach. And I notice a difference in my day and, my quality of life, and my staff, I think, are happier. I think it's just good for your mental health to just get out and see that ocean every day.
Totally. Yeah, it definitely is a good boost, especially when you're working so hard. And I know you deal with a lot of different types of cases, but you primarily focus in family law. So let's talk about kind of your main areas of expertise.
Yeah, so family law, like you said, there's a lot to it. There's child support, there's spousal support, there's division of assets. My practice, I primarily focus on child custody issues. That's just where my passion is and what really drew me to it. The thing that I really like about family law is there's so many shades of gray. Some areas of law, it's black and white, like criminal law, you're guilty or not guilty. Family law, it's real people. It could be just anyone that's going through one of the most difficult times of their life. And so my passion really around that is helping people to tell their story, explaining something to the judge, not just why do I want these custody orders? Why do I want this certain schedule? But why is that best for my child? And so that's what really drew me to that, was helping people tell their stories, sort of the shades of gray, coming up with creative solutions to issues that might arise. And that's just what I found to be the most rewarding.
And we chatted about this a little bit earlier before we hopped on camera, but I know October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So tell us how you work with families and victims.
Yeah, so absolutely. We have been seeing, at least in my practice, a rise in domestic violence cases since the pandemic. I think it's probably part of a variety of factors. There was also, rises in substance abuse, those sort of comorbidities. So as far as family law goes, there is the option to request a domestic violence restraining order. There's a few different types of restraining orders that people can get, and I don't think everyone's aware of that. One is one that the police can issue, which is an emergency protective order. That's generally good for just a few days. If criminal charges are pursued, a criminal protective order can be issued. But sometimes even when domestic violence has occurred, the criminal charges aren't going to be pursued. That doesn't mean that a crime hasn't been committed or that domestic violence didn't occur. But in that case, parties have the option of pursuing their own restraining order through the family courts. And so that's something that I help walk parties through. And it's really people from all walks of life. It's men, it's women, it's stay-at-home moms, it's CEOs. Anybody really can be a victim of domestic violence. And that's something, it's challenging, but I find that really rewarding too, to help people advocate for themselves and their families. Sometimes there's children that are being exposed to domestic violence, and it's really difficult.
And at what point do you step in the process? Is it right away? Is it kind of after they've, filed restraining orders? Kind of walk me through the steps of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've come in at all different stages. I've come in where somebody's maybe had an incident where the police were called and someone was arrested, and they call me and say, okay, well, I have this emergency protective order, but now what? Or I went to the court and I filed a restraining order and I have a hearing date and I don't know what to do and how to prepare for that. So I've come in after, a case has already been filed. I've also initiated cases. Sometimes people call me and they're not even sure, they didn't even know it was an option to file a restraining order. So I've had people call and say, oh, I want to file for divorce, or I want to separate from my partner. Maybe they're not even married, but I'm afraid of how they're going to react.
Right.
And so I say, okay, well, tell me a little bit more about that, and then we sort of talk about, well, there's this option, for a restraining order. Sometimes people are living together and I can't, San Diego's so expensive, I can't move out right away, or it's going to take time. And, educating them that, well, if there's domestic violence and you're afraid to continue living together, we can get a move out order. We can get emergency custody orders, reasons that people stay financially. They don't think they can afford their own place. They're worried about the children being alone with the abuser. So kind of educating them that, well, hey, there actually is some options here for you.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for kind of sharing that and bringing some awareness and the different options that people do have, which I think, like you said, not many people are aware that they exist, or there's multiple ways you can go about it. But if someone wants to get in touch with you and your firm, what's the best way for them to get in contact and maybe reach out if they have some more questions?
Yeah, absolutely. So generally the best way is to call us. Our office phone number is 858-328-4400. And my legal assistant is great. She can kind of do an initial screening and help us decide the best path forward and set us up to talk.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on Discover La Jolla today, Amelia, and thank you so much for watching. Welcome to Discover La Jolla, where we shine a light on the jewel of San Diego, La Jolla, California. I'm here with Leah Rosenthal from the Conrad Performing Arts Center and organization. So tell us a little bit about what you do at the Conrad and the history of the organization.
Sure. So I am the artistic director. The organization is actually La Jolla Music Society, and it's been around over 56 years. And the Conrad is our first physical home. It's our first venue that we call our own, and that's been in existence since 2019. So the Conrad has two amazing spaces. We have the Bakerbaum Concert Hall, which is a 500-seat concert hall that has gorgeous acoustics by the same acoustician that did Disney Hall, Suntory Hall in Tokyo, Elbphilharmonie in Hamburg. Gorgeous, gorgeous acoustics. And then we have the J, which is kind of a more casual date night spot where we have food and beverage service. Everyone's at cabaret tables. It's in the round. And a lot of like cool up and coming jazz and global music artists. So we're constantly having entertainment and a lot of events in our space. But in addition to that, we still present large performances off-site. So if we bring the London Symphony or the Joffrey Ballet, we'll still present at the Civic Theater or the Balboa Theater downtown.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm sure not a lot of people know that you've been in La Jolla for 50
I know,
plus years.
it's surprising. You would think that more people would know, but I think a lot of times we didn't have a home.
Right.
And when you don't have a home, people they can't sort of place who you are, what you're doing. And so I think this is really an incredible time for us to really establish our name, who we are in the community. We're La Jolla Music Society. We're the Conrad, which is our home. And then we also have an incredible chamber music festival called Summerfest every August. It's about 5 weeks, 21 concerts, over 90 performances, or 90 engagement activities. And we have about 80 artists from around the world come, and they call La Jolla home for 5 weeks. And I think, I've found a lot of people don't realize that we're Summerfest, we're La Jolla Music Society, we're also the building, and we're just doing really incredible work, and it's just a fun place to be.
Yeah, it's all encompassing. And I know that we are coming up on your winter season. So tell us a little bit about what you have in store for that.
Sure. So the winter season started a couple weeks ago, but it usually starts a little light and then ramps up. We have over 70 performances. Ranging from jazz and global music. We have kids series. We have a speaker series with Nat Geo explorers. We have incredible, iconic dance companies coming. Those dance performances usually are off-site, like I mentioned, downtown. Coming up this weekend, we have Chris Bodie, who's a fantastic trumpet player down at Balboa Theater. And then after that, we have this incredible South African cellist that combines classical music and global music and folk traditions from Africa and from South Africa, where he's from. And that'll actually be in the Bakerbaum Concert Hall at the Conrad. And we had him last year, and I've never seen our audience lose their mind for this incredible, amazing artist. And so we actually invited him to come back this year as well. So, and tickets are going fast because he's infectious. So really excited. And then we just have we have a whole season. You can go on our website, theconrad.org, and explore all of our different programs coming up.
Well, I love what you're doing for the community and kind of bringing a little bit more culture and variety into La Jolla and all of San Diego, since you have the different off-site venues as well. And like you said, go on the website. Is there any other way that people who are watching can get in touch with you and learn a little bit more about the Conrad?
So the Conrad.org, the website is really helpful. I mean, you can also always call our box office, and they're happy to walk you through the season, tell you about what's coming up. My info is on our website as well, and I always encourage people, if they see something that they love or they've seen a great show, to call me or email me and let me know what they've seen. I think we're trying to sort of destigmatize this idea that classical music and more of these sort of performing arts are elitist or too formal. And there's so much warmth, there's so much engagement. I love seeing younger people in the audience. We want to look in our audience and see a reflection of the community, which is La Jolla and beyond. And so it's important that the artists on our stage also represent this incredibly diverse and beautiful community that is San Diego. So, people should just reach out or just come, because once they come, I think they actually fall in love pretty quickly. It's a very special space where you have this opportunity to see these artists in such an intimate, small setting where normally these same musicians you would see in the large concert halls around the world, and here you can sit in a 500-seat hall and really feel like you're part of it.
Yeah, it's a different experience. Like you said, it's more intimate and it kind of brings together all ages in the community. So I love that. And if you're watching this, be sure to go and check out a show or an event coming up and definitely support them. So thank you so much, Leah, for coming on, and thank you for watching Discover La Jolla podcast.